season. Hyundai too records its highest daily billing in 5 years. Sales of small cars see a notable jump.
Euro Pratik makes its T-Street debut at 11% premium to its issue price of 272 rupees. The management tells CNBC-TV18 the company is set to grow faster than the industry, which is growing at around 16%. Adds it's a bottom-line focused company and has expected growth to come in from its new catalogue launches.
Hello and welcome to Markets Forward, your go-to show where we aim to get you all the key data points to gear up for the next trading day. I'm Vamakshi Thoria and with me is my colleague Vivek Iyer. Vivek, hi. It wasn't as terrible a Tuesday as, one would have imagined given the first couple of hours of trade. We managed to recover quite well from that point of time. Nifty Bank saw good uptake, but on the flip side was auto stocks that actually saw some bit of cool off from the day's highest point.
That's right. Good afternoon, Vamakshi. So not a terrible Tuesday, like you mentioned. We recovered quite smartly in the intraday session, but to end the day, the Nifty ended with a cut of, with a minor cut, a 30-point downtick is what the Nifty saw. The Nifty Bank, like you mentioned, outperformed, and within that space, the entire PSU basket did quite well. What also did well was actually the Nifty Metal Pack, and all of the metal stocks today did quite well, along with the PSU names, not only the PSU metal stocks, but even some of the names like HPCL, BPCL, oil marketing companies, all of them did quite well. Well, we have a power pack lineup, and here's a lineup of what we have in store for you today. We start with the top movers and shakers of the day with Riya Bhatia. Festive cheer hit automakers, stock surge in trade. Shares of KC International too gained after the company secured a significant order win worth over 3,200 crores. Meanwhile, the Nifty Metal Index surged too. And last but not the least, we delve into the key market events to watch out for in tomorrow's trading session.
Well, on to our first segment of the day then. Riya is joining us so now from the big ball with all the top movers and shakers of the day. Riya, over to you.
Well, yes, Mom, actually starting off with the top gainers of the day. First, we have GMDC, Tata Investment going up by around 11% to 10.5%. Even Deepak Fertilizers, Hindustan Copper were in focus today, up around 3.5% to 4.5%. KEC was up around 4% after an order win worth about rupees 3,243 crores in the international T&D business. Reflex Industries went up by around 17% after the board approved a demerger to form Reflex Mobility Limited with a proposed independent listing going forward. MK Global hit an upper circuit of 20% after Kirti Doshi acquired a 21% stake in the company worth around rupees 227.5 crores via Antique Securities. Axis Bank was also up over 2% after HSBC raised its target price on the stock to rupees 1,340 with a buy call. Moving on to the stocks on the downside today, top losers included some Adani Group stocks that saw some profit booking today after the big up move that we saw yesterday and during the last week. Adani Total Gas was up around 6%. Adani Power was down around 6%, pardon me. Adani Power down around 5% after hitting an upper circuit of 20% yesterday. Even AWL Agri down around 4%, and LT Foods and Saman Capital also saw a fair bit of losses today. Defense stocks also sulked in today's trade even after positive commentary coming in from the Defense Secretary last evening. The Nifty India Defense Index was down over 1% at one point in the trading session, although we did see some bit of a recovery towards the closing of the session. The biggest losers included Axis Cates Tech, Bharat Dynamics, Paris Defense, Solar Industries, Cochin Shipyard and Mazgon Dock. MTAR Tech, Apollo Micro and Nibe, although were up around 2.5% to 3.5%. Some stocks were also at their 52-week low. These included Praj Industries, Root Mobile as well as RK Forge.
Well, thank you so much, Riya, for giving us a neat wrap of all of the top movers in this session today. Well, we'll now go across to our guest, Jaybala CMT at cashthechaos.com and Sudeep Bandyopadhyay, Group Chairman at IndiTrade Capital. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. Well, Jay, let me first come across to you. Well, a very topsy-turvy session, also given the fact that today was the expiry session as well. How do you look at the markets from the current levels?
Hi, Vivek. The markets, the bulls hold a slight advantage over the bears at current stage, but the Nifty needs to cross 25,669 really quickly. Otherwise, the mild advantage the bulls still hold might get lost, and if the US markets, which are really close to completing the bullish move that started from April, that might start a Q4 correction. So we want to see the Nifty cross 25,669 before the US markets correction set in. We want to see the Nifty hold about 24,750 and then quickly cross 25,669. And the banking index, thanks to SBI, is doing slightly better than the Nifty. But still, the important resistance for the banking index is 56,160. So once that's crossed, the things can start looking good for the banking sector too.
All right, but the other sector that was in focus today was the auto pack. Now, festive cheer has hit the auto sector. Sales and inquiries run high across the sector, with Maruti reporting best customer response in 35 years, and Hyundai recording highest single-day performance in the last 5 years. Sudarshan takes stock of the sector. Over to you, Sud.
So it's a strong start to the festive season for auto companies, especially four-wheelers. The biggest car maker, Maruti, has come out and said that it's the best start the company has seen in the last 35 years. And also it goes on to say that if the momentum sustains, company is going to have a very strong festive season, and there is a possibility that company might run out of certain inventory in certain segments. So talking about the inquiries, company has received inquiries of more than 80,000 with the billing of almost 25,000. It goes on to say that there is a possibility that billings can increase and cross 30,000 very soon. So since September 18, the day company had announced, had passed on GST cut and also announced additional benefits, since that day, company has seen inquiries of almost 75,000 per day, and with bookings of 15,000 units per day, and that is also an increase of almost 50%. The biggest positive for Maruti was the inquiry and the bookings that company has seen for the entry-level segment, where the growth is more than 50%. It's the same trend for Hyundai, which has seen dealer billings of more than 10,000 units, and company had said it's the highest ever single day bookings that company has seen in last 5 years. As far as Tata Motors is concerned, it has received inquiries of more than 25,000 with billings crossing almost 11,000. So we'll have to see if these companies manage to sustain the momentum to the entire festive season. As of now, it's a good news.
Thank you so much, Sudarshan. Clearly good news coming in as far as the auto pack is concerned in terms of inquiries as well as deliveries, like you mentioned. Well, another stock that was in focus today was KC International. At one point of time, that particular stock was up almost 8%, but cooled off towards the end of the session. What was the news flow over here? The company actually secured its largest ever EPC order win. In fact, the company announced that it had received orders of over 3,200 crore, and this came in the international T&D business. What did these orders include? The orders included a 400 kilovolt transmission line, and this came in the United Arab Emirates. And along with that, the company also secured orders coming in for supply of towers, hardware and poles in the Americas region. So now when you're looking at this particular order inflow for Q2, the YTD order intake for the company stands at 11,700 crore, and this compares against the company's own guidance of close to 30,000 crore. When you're looking at the share of T&D, close to 70% of the YTD order inflows have come in from this particular segment, again indicating that the pipeline is quite strong, especially when it comes to this particular space. No other than KC Vamakshi up almost 2%, but cooled off significantly towards the end of the session.
Absolutely, Vivek. So at least off to a good start this year in terms of order inflows for KC. Sudeep, I would like to come to you now, and would like to get your take in on the auto pack, because that is one sector that did extremely well. What's your opinion on stocks like Maruti, which have done quite well over the last couple of sessions, ever since this GST rate rationalization announcement came through?
Well, I think, this is pretty much on expected lines, because what was happening was Maruti was suffering because the entry-level car demand was low. We know there was a consumption slowdown, and there were some challenges with rural income and income in the low-income households. But that pressure is getting off. The rainfall has been good. The agriculture has been good. Interest rates have come down. And on top of everything, I think this GST rationalization gave the added incentive for incremental purchases during the festive season, which has begun yesterday. So I think things are looking good for Maruti, and pretty much the entire entry-level segment vehicles whether it's a four-wheelers or even two-wheelers. I'm yet to see the two-wheeler numbers, but I believe that companies like Hero MotoCorp, which caters to the low ticket size vehicles, should benefit also in this momentum. As far as Maruti is concerned, we have maintained our positive view, but considering the valuation, we would recommend this from a long-term perspective, not a very, very short-term. We also like M&M. We believe that while this may not catch the festive wind at the lower end, but fundamentally the stock looks good, and I'm sure they will also benefit out of this GST rationalization.
Well, thank you so much for your view there. Sudeep, Jay, let me bring you into this particular conversation as well. Clearly, the Nifty Auto Index has been a significant outperformer ever since the GST rate cuts came in. At the current levels, do you see further upside? And if you do, what are your preferred picks in this particular space?
Yeah, I've been pointing to Auto Index being the star performer since July. And the Nifty Auto Index hit fresh all-time highs today. But it's cooled off from the all-time highs. My projection was for 28,500 to 30,500 for the Nifty Auto Index. But today's price action is a little bit, not so great. But we've got the fresh 52-week highs. If I was bullish, in fact, I'm bullish. If I'm continuing to be bullish, it'll be on the two-wheeler space, not on the four and three-wheeler space. So I would believe Hero Motors and Bajaj Auto might have much more upsides to work with, rather than M&M, Maruti, and Tata Motors. Well, maybe Tata Motors in the four-wheeler space, but yeah, Hero Motors and Bajaj Auto might have more upsides to work with. So the four-wheelers might take a back seat for the moment, and then the two-wheelers could play catch-up with the four-wheelers.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Jay. But, one sector that was shining in trade today is the Nifty Metal Pack. This was largely on the back of anticipated price hikes in steel and structural changes in China and India. Nigel is here with some of the key drivers behind the surge. Nigel.
Well, that's right. Metals are shining bright, and there might be a sparkle in store in the coming week. Let's break it down for you then. The hot rolled coil is trading at around an 8% discount to China parity and 3% below the free trade agreement parity. And so Nomura forecasts that steel prices could rise by up to 5% from current spot levels in the second half of FY26. Point number two, demand tailwinds, well, they are in favor of an upsurge. In China, October marks the start of a seasonally strong demand rebound. And in India, you have restocking cycle that's expected to get a bit of a booster shot. Point number three, there are structural shifts both in India as well as in China. In India, the safeguard duties have been extended for 3 years, and GST cuts in the key categories could spur demand growth from year on. While in China, a move towards anti-involution, which is quality over quantity, that's gaining momentum. So let's take that point forward. In fact, China's output cuts are now turning up, in terms of getting aggressive from year on. Just to give you a couple of data points, between January as well as July 2025, China's crude steel production dropped by 2%. But things could get even more aggressive from year on. Nomura predicts 9% cut in output between August and December 2025, as Beijing has mandated an annual cut of around 5%, which amounts to around 50 million tons. Point number five, there's a watch on stimulus. All eyes are on October. The hopes are that there could be some stimulus on the property side, which could spur demand as well. And finally, India's ferrous market is rock solid. The steel production consumption is growing at high single digits, while imports as well have come down by 50% since the announcement of safeguard duty. All in all, things are shining bright. And in fact, in the next couple of weeks, we could be hearing about a steel price increase.
Well, thank you so much for that, Nigel, and we'll keep an eye out for when you let us know when that particular price hike does come about. Sudeep, let me bring you into this particular discussion as well, especially when you're looking at the metal pack. There's been a little bit of momentum in this particular space over the past few weeks. Where do your preferences lie? Do you like the ferrous or the non-ferrous space here?
We do like the entire metal pack. Ferrous does look good. Look, I think what is most important out of the stuff Nigel was talking about are two things. One is the involution in China, which is the focus on quality versus quantity, and the production cut which has happened systematically in China during the current fiscal. That definitely is very useful from a demand point of view. Of course, the safeguard duty imposed by India, an extension of that for 3 years, is good news for domestic manufacturers. But even important compared to these two are, of course, the expectation of stimulus in China for the housing sector, building sector, which will lead to incremental demand in China. So I think things are looking good, and one can look at the steel companies. We do like Tisco for Tata Steel for a very, very long time, and we maintain our view. One can look at another company which is a bit aggressive position considering what is happening around it, but it is still a aggressive position which can be looked at. That is Vedanta. I think there are challenges in terms of regulatory issues there, in terms of demerger, but we believe that is in the pipeline, and the valuation wise it does look good, and sum of parts value is definitely higher than what we are buying today at.
All right, so positive on Tata Steel as well as Vedanta, and for Vedanta, despite the kind of challenges that you see. Thank you so much for that, Sudeep. But Jai, I'd like to ask you about GMDC. That particular stock, saw a very sharp bump up in trade today. In fact, the stock, I believe, is sitting at a record high. How does this stock look like on the charts, and where do you think this is headed?
Yeah, it's looking very strong on the momentum and price. So I'm sure this is not the peak for the stock. But when it comes to risk reward, this is not the best stock. But you might be better off positioning on a copper play through Hindustan Copper rather than GMDC. So if you place a stop at about 275 and hold Hindustan Copper, you can probably expect about 411 to 425 for Hindustan Copper.
Well, thank you so much, both Sudeep as well as Jai, for joining in, giving us a view on the markets as well as various fundamentals as well. Before we head into a short break, we leave you with commentary from JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon on inflation and other growing concerns in the US.
I've always said that there's no American president who ever said, I want higher rates. So obviously they want short rates. President Trump has come out and said, I believe in an independent Fed. Yeah. He's quite strong about his opinions, but being independent is an important thing. The Fed is not really independent in other matters, supervisory, regulatory. I think there was too much of that, and they should have their ears cut back a little bit. But look, presumably, hopefully we'll pick a good Fed chair. Some of the names I think are quite good. I don't want to go through each one, and we'll see. I hope it continues, and I'm a little more cautious on inflation than other people. That may not go away so quick because of the global deficits around the world. Those have an inflationary effect. The remilitarization of the world, the restructuring of trade, those things are all kind of inflationary. And maybe, less immigration in the United States, could help push up wages in the United States a little bit, which is not all bad because, a lot of people, deserve a wage increase.
Welcome back to Markets Forward. Let's take a look at the key corporate voices of the day. First up is Shree Cement. The management said it is set to pass on GST benefits to customers to help boost demand. It is confident that GST rate cuts will further spur industry growth. Further, the company guided the volume growth to be around 6% in FY26. Meanwhile, the company expects EBITDA to remain in line with last quarter's levels. Further, Shree Cement is focused on organic growth. However, it is open to acquisitions.
Next up on our radar is Sesha Sai Technologies, the tech-enabled solution company's IPO opened for subscription today. While speaking to CNBC-TV18 earlier today, the management said it will use 300 crore rupees for debt repayments. Further, they also added they're expecting payments business to grow at a 25% CAGR.
And before we wrap, we bring you key market events to watch out for. Ria Bhatia is standing by with the key events to focus for tomorrow.
Well, yes, let's take a look at the key events to watch out for tomorrow. We have the crude oil inventory as well as new home sales data coming out of the US. Back home in India, watch out for two board meetings tomorrow. Piccadilly Agro is going to consider a fundraise and SMC Global is going to consider a bonus issue tomorrow. There are also 3 IPOs opening for subscription. Jain Resource Recycling comes out with its 1,250 crore IPO. EPAC Prefab Tech comes out with its 504 crore IPO. And BMW Ventures comes out with its issue size of over 231 crores. 3 other key events to watch out for. US President Donald Trump is set to deliver a keynote speech at the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly. There's also the ECB non-monetary policy meeting tomorrow. And lastly, watch out for the World Bank president as he speaks at the Bloomberg Global Business Forum tomorrow.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Ria. Lots to track in trade tomorrow. But with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Markets Forward. We will be back with more news and updates on the other side, so don't go anywhere.
Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Archana Solanki. Here are the headlines you're tracking this evening. The Indian rupee sinks to a new low. $1 is now worth nearly 89 rupees. Stock markets end with marginal cuts thanks to a recovery in bank stocks. Gold prices hit fresh record highs and silver prices hover around 14